All right, it's recording. All right, this is our group quiz, and we just want to make known that we are having issues with our sound and microphones, possibly on my end. So everyone is present, and we are going to chat. All right, let's go to Riley. You can start. So while I switch over to my screen, if that works.
Okay. So everyone, take the quiz.
So the first question is about our URL. Do you want to just post that? We can all just post that.
Oh, okay, so they want me to post the URL. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. So after the quiz?
Yeah, I might be able to do it now, but we can move on. Oh, list the names of the group. That's an easy. I'm kidding. Can you guys type your full names? Do we just need first names? Oh, they're right there. Riley Bywater, John Genos. If I'm saying it wrong, Michelle Reyes.
Yeah.
Where are the individual names at?
On the picture.
Does it have the last name?
All right, we can come back and type that out. Let's just go to 3, and then everyone can
Yeah.
do 1 and 2, or number 2 on their own.
Okay.
Okay, question 3. So this one asks us to talk about 2 questions related to the PPF model, Production Possibilities Frontier.
Do you guys want me to read? I feel like I'm just taking over, and I don't want to be.
Riley, you want to tell her that you'll read because she can hear all of us. Or I'm sorry.
What's John saying, Riley?
Yeah. So he says I should read because you can all hear me.
Perfect.
That work?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So page 34, 35, PPF model. Ask or answer at least 2 questions. Summarize 2 things you learned from this discussion that you didn't understand. So we just have to read it and then talk about what we got out of it? Is that what it's saying? Summarize 2 things. So we're just having a discussion and then we summarize it in our own words?
Yeah, so I guess we need to come up with 2 different questions.
Okay. All right. Should I just read the Production Possibility Frontier?
Sure.
What?
That works.
Page 34, 35, correct?
Yeah. 35 is like, goes into 36. All right, I'll just read page 30. Yeah, okay, here we go. The Production Possibility Frontier for H and Z. A production possibility set traces out all of the possible combinations of H and Z that are attainable given an individual's budget and time constraints. The edge or frontier of the set is also called the Production Possibility Frontier and should be familiar to students of the economics. It is helpful to think about what the PPF looks like in the Grossman model, as the constraints facing the individual are not the same as those consumers face in a typical decision model. In a standard model of consumer decision making, if a consumer decides to devote all his resources to one good, he can attain a maximal level of that good. For instance, in a model of how consumers split their money between apples and bananas, every apple that the consumer buys results in less money left over to buy bananas. This results in a PPF that resembles figure 3.2. An individual who devotes all resources to H will have no resources left to buy Z. Conversely, an individual who devotes all his resources to Z will have no H. The problem with this typical PPF in the context of the Grossman model is that, as we have seen, an individual with low H will have few resources to produce any Z at all. In the figure, points such as the one labeled P are not attainable and therefore should not be within the boundary of the PPF. Figure 3.2 presents the correct PPF that is consistent with the budget and time constraints of the Grossman model. It is easiest to see why this frontier is shaped the way it is by examining 5 extreme points labeled in the figure. In point A, the individual is at H minimum and hence has no productive time available to work, play, or improve. As a consequence, he cannot afford any of the home goods Z. At point B, the individual is healthier and has some time available for productive activities. Since his health is still low, he has on the steep portion of the illness avoidance function. Even small improvements in health yield larger increases in productive time. We could call this the free lunch zone. An hour spent increasing health yields more than an hour reduction in sick time.
pause
The
there, Riley. real
individual.
quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, and you can translate this over for Pasha to hear, but an interesting element of this is we want to find what maximizes our ability to partake of both goods given our constraint. We want to maximize the benefit, right? And it kind of, in those points, it basically is saying that at A, B, E, or at least at points A and B, consuming more healthcare will actually allow you to have more of both goods, which is different than a typical production possibility frontier. At D and E, more health can actually be antithetical to the amount of Z that you want. So if your constraint is to achieve or if your objective is to achieve the highest amount of utility, given your constraint, and I believe the constraint is time with this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Z is time spent on all other goods. So if you're constrained by a certain amount to give to health and to Z, then you wouldn't consume at D or E because you can have a higher amount of time given to other activities at point C. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know that's
right.
I know it's pretty straightforward there, but I just wanted to rehash that as an interesting insight. Is that it's different than a typical production possibility come frontier, like it says in the book, but we want to find a way
definitely.
to.
Michelle, can you hear both me and John?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay, cool. All right. You probably didn't catch any of that, did you?
No, just give me a synopsis.
Yeah, he basically just was talking about how option C would probably be the best to. Man, he said a lot of stuff. I don't know how to summarize.
That's okay. I'm not too worried. That one
just,
we can do individually, right? Like it's saying it doesn't have to be a group consensus, so that's fine.
Okay, I'll just finish here real fast. At point C, the free lunch is over. 1 hour spent on extra health yields exactly 1 hour productive time. The individual is still not as healthy as he could be because he is not spending all his time jogging or all of his money on medical care. At point C, the individual enjoys the maximum amount of Z possible. If he tries to increase Z by shifting resources from health to the home good, the increase in sick time will outweigh the gain in the resources available for Z production. If he tries to increase Z by increasing H in an attempt to gain more productive time, he will again fail. Increases in health will not produce enough extra time to offset the time he must dedicate to improving H. Point D is in the trade-off zone, which consists of all points between C and E. Because the individual is on the flat part of the illness avoidance function, increases in H yield only small decreases in sick time. In order to finance any increase in H, you must shift resources away from Z. At point E, the individual spends all his time and money on health, totally ignoring the home good. As a result, Z is zero, and H is the maximum attainable value. So if we all just kind of summarize that in our own words, then we can go back to that one. Is that kind of what we're
saying? Sounds good.
So, all right. So question 4?
Yep.
So the constraint is actually time.
Yeah, time.
You want to?
All right. So they're saying time constraint for question 4.
Yes, I agree.
Perfect. I do too. All right. Question 5. In the Grossman model, the marginal efficiency of investment in healthcare declines as health improves.
Yes, true.
I said true.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Michelle, are you on board with that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I got this next one wrong on the individual quiz. So I guess the answer is that there's always a trade-off between health and leisure.
Yeah, I chose the same thing. So you're not the only one.
I chose D and I got it wrong.
So
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. D should be the right answer. I chose A. And in this PPF, what's unique about it is you actually can have D. That was my mistake. I'm sorry. Did you guys disagree or do you agree there?
You're saying it is possible to increase health and leisure simultaneously?
Yeah, from point B to C.
Yeah.
You can actually increase both simultaneously.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure ours are in the same order. I don't know. So.
Smart.
Okay. Tasha, what do you think of it is possible to increase health and leisure simultaneously for question 6?
Mine. It is possible to increase health and leisure simultaneously. Sorry, I didn't know we'd moved on. There's always a trade-off between health and leisure. Maximum leisure is achieved at minimum health. Yes, I agree because, well, maximum leisure. Okay, sorry. I'll go with it.
Do you, if you're good with it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the. Can everybody hear me or just that?
We can all hear her.
They can all hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. Let's move on. Sorry, I just hadn't read it through. All right, 7. I'm ready.
Oh, okay. All right. Aging.
Is D. I would say it's
this-
D.
Downward. Is that what you
Yeah.
guys think?
Yeah, I said D, which was
They
downward.
say they're saying it's downward. D.
Moves downward along the MEC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
had. Awesome.
Perfect. Okay. In the Grossman model, health is an investment good.
True.
Isn't that
True.
That one was true, if I remember.
That's
Are
what I
these the same as the?
Yeah, this is similar to the original quiz.
Everyone think it's
Okay.
true.
Yeah, everyone's
Awesome.
going with true.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay. Question 9. According to the PPF and the Grossman model, if someone chooses the maximum health point, then the person. That one was.
Is that B?
They care. Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, I was saying, is that B? Health good?
Only cares
Only
about
cares
health,
about
good age.
home good health. H.
Yeah, because they can't maximize Z
D.
if they're at H, all the way to the right on H,
Oh.
meaning they can't enjoy any Z. So it
Is
has
that what everyone's going with? B.
B.
Second one.
B. Yeah. Only
Only
cares
cares
about
about- okay.
health good age.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Question 10. In the Grossman model, optimal health declines with age because the depreciation of health, the depreciation rate of health capital continues to
Continues.
rise, right? So D.
Yep.
D.
You guys agree with that? D.
Yeah, that's what that was my initial response. Did we
Yeah,
have these
so-
questions?
Yeah,
So I think these are the same.
Okay.
they are.
Sweet. Good.
Okay. Question 11. According to the Grossman model, education.
Increases
Is it
productivity.
C, the ability to solve? No.
No, it's B.
I think it's B.
They're thinking B, increases productivity
Productivity, that should
by shifting up the PBF.
sounds
I
good to me.
didn't get that one wrong on the
yeah.
individual quiz, and I checked my answers, so that one should be right.
Okay. So
That makes
increases
sense.
productivity B. Okay, cool. We'll go with that.
Okay.
All right, last one. In the Grossman model, people choose an optimal time to die when their depreciation rate of capital
Yep.
is so high. Yeah. C.
Yep.
That-
That's what I have.
C.
Okay.
Yep. Real quick, Riley, can you relay to her that what should we do for that one
All
that
right.
asked?
I will stop. Oh, sorry, John's talking.
Give 1 second, John's talking.
Sorry.
So what should we do for that one that says like that one we're saying we were going to go back to number 3?
So number 3, I think we decided. So we read the text, and then we just need to summarize 2 things that we got out of that. So I think we're going to do that on our own. It's kind of what.
Okay, well, we didn't really discuss it though, did we? For sake of getting the right grade, don't you think we should discuss it? Or
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So John wants to discuss it more if we can.
Yeah,
Makes it a little hard with not always talking, but
I can give you some notes, you guys, because I watched the video of what the teacher and he kind of
Yeah, well-
talked about that, and I'll just real quick.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of similar to the chapter of. Sorry, let me get to my notes here real quick. But he was talking about. Let me get to the chapter. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I took a lot of notes because I'm trying to make sure. So just like what Riley was reading, the A, B, C, D, and E, he was talking about how A is minimum health, meaning all your sick time. That's when you're sick, a person is down. But B is the free lunch zone, which we read about. So he said it's called the free lunch zone, even though in economics there's not really a free lunch per se, is what she stated in the video. And she said that's when your health is a little bit better, but you can still be productive. So that was something I learned, that just C is your max. That's your best level. So your max consumption of Z, meaning everything else, and your best level. So C is like the optimal. If I'm repeating everything you guys already know, this is just kind of what we were reading there. You can tell me to shut up, like.
Oh.
Well,
No, you're good.
Okay. And then
You have something to say, John, real fast?
what's that?
Did you have something to say real fast?
Yeah, I was going to say that just an interesting comparison we might be able to include in our summary here is something that's similar as education. For example, to enjoy ourselves more, to obtain more of Z, or the good that includes all other goods, basically that we can use with our time. Another example would be education. Without the ability to even read, or without the ability to write, our ability to enjoy ourselves or to take advantage of our other time spent away from education would be diminished. So it's kind of a similar PPF, I'd say.
Yeah. So basically what John was saying, Tasha, is that education is also a similar PPF. That's something that we can spend more time in to increase, our health and all that good stuff. So
Yep. And he also made let's see. I don't know if you guys saw this. I didn't. Woo, that's kind of trippy.
In different
Did
curves.
you guys? Oh, sorry, John's talking. He was showing like on the graph, like if you have the vertical lines, that's somebody who only cares about health, and then if it's the horizontal, that's only somebody who cares about, whatever their utility is. So that was something I was like, oh, I'd share that.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys already know that. Am I like far behind?
Those
To
are
be honest.
no, you're good. This is confusing stuff. So yeah, it's crazy. I think, are those in our book? Those charts. Yeah, figure 3.5.
No, what do you think?
You're like, yeah, it's there, dummy. Yeah, there it is.
No, I'm not. Sorry, I'm not.
No, I
No,
jumped
that's good
around a lot.
information.
I'm sorry. No.
Michelle,
Michelle,
did
what
you
do
have
you think?
anything? Yep.
Oh, sorry, couldn't hear you guys. No, I think you guys covered most of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Cool.
have anything else.
Can I ask you guys a quick question while you smarts people are here? I'm old. I'm in my 30s, so I'm not as smart. And I have 6 kids, so I'm losing my mind. With this, when we're talking about increasing utility, does that have to do with, like you were talking about, like education? So how does that play into just like the external options of life? So if you have more education, or if you win the lottery, like how does that play into graphing on the chart? Does that make sense?
So and you can explain this chart. I don't know if I understand your question, since it depends when you're looking at a curve like that. She's looking at 2 dimensions, meaning you can only look at 2 different goods. So if your constraint wasn't time but money, then yes, you would see a higher level of utility, and your curve would actually go from here and shift further out.
So yeah, based on kind of what we understand, you're saying these charts kind of only show 2D. They're only showing 2 things. So you could probably interchange them for time or money or things like that to extend that graph, or kind of determine what you're talking about there, your enjoyment or utility out of those.
So you'd be more
Is
productive.
that kind of what you're saying, John?
You'd be more productive in, like, let's say you won the lottery and your constraint was money, not time, or even with time, you'd be able to essentially purchase more health. Let's say it was money, not time. You'd be able to purchase more health or use more money resources on health, which would then allow you to attain a higher level of Z. So I think it would actually, your constraint would allow you to move your curve further out. You'd enjoy better utility if the constraint in the curve you were looking at it was money rather than time. If he's talking about winning the lottery, does that make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, basically, if you change that constraint out for like money, he was saying, instead of time, then that would allow the utility to be higher.
Higher utility to go out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Did that answer your question? Sorry.
Yeah, you didn't know. I'm just making sure that I understand and I'm interpreting these problems correctly, because he was talking about like, oh, when we did the problems with woman A and woman B and she makes twice as much. But if she spent more time in college with her kind of what you're talking about, how does that affect her health? And they were discussing how, okay, well, her health is going to suffer down the road, blah, blah, blah. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding those concepts and how they interchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Well, cool.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Sounds like you got it. So.
Really, yep.
Yeah.
All right. I will stop recording.